We had quite a jolly ride and arrived in town before 4 o'clock. I was impressed with my first real sight of Stratford, because Viola and I had arrived in the evening. We did not see the town from the railroad station. Alfred claims that 9,000 people live in Stratford. He promised to bring me on market day, so I made sense of time looking about. The courthouse, the city hall, and the post office seem to have all been built from the same load of bricks, red and yellow with festive trim. The post office was very busy, with several townfolk doing business or chatting when their business was done. I particularly remember there were a great many people because of what happened next. As Alfred and I made our way across the tiled floor, we heard someone call my name. "Why, Miss Mabel Riley! What luck to see you here!" It was Miss Rattle wearing a cloak of scarlet cashmere with violet gloves, which she waved at me wildly as if summoning a child. I have good news to tell, her voice rang out like church bells on a cold night. And if that were not enough, she clasped me by the waist and kissed my cheek. It seemed that 9,000 pairs of eyes were staring at us.
Mrs. Rattle was now flanked by the forest. She turned toward the marching ladies and raised her hands as if she were conducting the orchestra. They lifted their voices in a hymn as Mrs. Rattle's smile beamed out to cheer them. But in one indignant motion, Miss Forrest pushed her, using both hands to send her sprawling. Miss Rattle's head hit the frozen ground with a sickening bump, and she crumpled. "No!" I cried. "No!" A scream of outrage rose from the factory of women, but the policemen instantly formed themselves into a barricade that prevented their intrusion. I know not what propelled me, or where I found the nerve. I squeezed between two horses, and there I was, clutching at Miss Forrest's cloak to yank her back from Miss Rattle. I tried to thrust her aside, and raised my fists in a fury. My hands met her shoulders, and I shoved hard, knocking her onto her bottom. Her goggle-eyed look of shock nearly made me laugh in the midst of the horror.
Miss Viola Riley, new teacher of Sellerton School, arrived on Friday and is boarding with Mr. and Mrs. Howard Goodhand of Goodhand Farm. Miss Riley was graduated from St. Catherine's Normal School and takes her first position here. She is accompanied by her sister, Miss Mabel Riley. Although we are saddened by the departure of Mr. Augustus Tamblin after 28 years of instruction, we wish to welcome Miss Riley to the community. My first appearance in a newspaper. I shall keep it here as part of my record. Perhaps someday I will perform some further deed of note. I did my duty and wrote to Mama and to Hattie, also relating every moment since our arrival. I did not realize how I missed having a friend until I tumbled out my heart to her on paper.